Well, from out of left field, Nintendo has swung, and it appears they're going to possibly hit a home run for the first time since the 1980s, but time will tell. Today is Wednesday, October 26th, 2016. My name is Razzle. I'm joined by Shakezilla TV for episode 35 of the Prattlecast.
You're talking about Nintendo Switch, right?
I am talking about Nintendo Switch, as a matter of fact.
Nintendo Switch, from everything I've seen, looks really awkward and really uncomfortable.
I could not disagree more. I saw the ad, and when I first heard that Nintendo was going to do something, I was like, oh, great. Wonderful.
Yeah, I generally just don't care what Nintendo's doing.
And I think I've been like that ever since the N64, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I feel like really, for me, after the SNES, Nintendo hasn't done anything, in my opinion, that's really been that amazing. Like that point where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is just too cool. I was severely disappointed by the N64 when it released, which I think I've even spoken about on the podcast. But
why were you disappointed? We need to stop, because I don't remember.
Well, the N64, I remember playing it, like, maybe a day after we had it, or maybe even the day of buying it. I seem to recall playing the game Star Fox very early on because I was so eager to play it. And somewhere while I was playing this game, I was looking at it thinking, I feel like graphics should be better than this now. And
yes, I do remember you bringing that up.
I just remember having that conscious thought, and I felt like that with the PS1. It wasn't until we got into that Xbox PS2 era where I finally started thinking, you know what, things are actually looking really good right now, because it no longer felt clunky or looked weird. It actually looked like it was going to be something amazing, and it's only been improving ever since. So Nintendo says something, I'm like, but then I saw this trailer, and I have to say, it looks good. They've got an interesting idea with the fact that the main console becomes a handheld console, which we all know they wanted to do that with the Wii U, and it didn't work out so well.
Yeah, like they had it, but it wasn't it didn't work very well.
Right. I think it was it was basically an early stage of what this one is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it for a couple of reasons, mostly because I can never seem to get my laptop to hook up to the PS4 because of the Wi-Fi issue I have between getting the streaming onto a computer from the PS4 and sometimes the Xbox One works a little better, though, I will say that, but the PS4 issues have just driven me crazy. But I don't want to go out and just buy a handheld. And so I see this thing and I'm like, you know what? I like the direction of this because it means I can take this home, plug it in, or if I'm away from home at a hotel for work or whatever, then I can take it with me and keep playing my games. I like that. I like the fact that the controller has multi things it can do. In fact, you can turn the controller into two controllers and have two people playing against each other like a game of Mario Kart or something. I just think that's really neat. So tell me why you do not like it.
No, I do like it. I just don't like the look of the controller. I can't see how that controller for one person is going to be comfortable. Granted, I don't know. I have not held one. I don't have a clue, but the way it looks, I just can't see it being very comfortable. That's my only issue with it. Everything else, I agree with you.
Well, did you see
I think it's a great idea.
Did you see it where they removed the controller and turned it into two different controllers?
I did not know that till right now, no.
Okay, well,
that's pretty cool.
There's that scene on the plane where the guy's playing Skyrim, and he's got one in one hand and the other one in the other hand, and he's kind of more relaxed, leaning back and just kind of playing it like that. And I was like, okay, that's kind of neat looking. It reminds me of the touch controllers that Oculus are coming out with. So I don't really know how the controller's going to feel yet. It can't be any worse than the frickin' PS, what was it, the PS Vita or the new one? Is it the Vita, the most recent one?
Well, I think the PSP came first.
Okay, the PSP came first, and the PS Vita is the current one.
Because the PSP was not necessarily comfortable to use.
Right.
Because I played it because there was like very specific horror titles released on it, so I had to buy it, and it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't fit right in your hands.
And basically PS Vita has that thing where they're like, oh, well, you can stream your console onto the PS Vita, but if it works about the same as my laptop works, it's not something I want. I want a console that hooks directly into my internet, And if I'm just streaming from the console onto PS Vita, that doesn't work. I'd have to be playing a game directly on PS Vita for it to even work, but then you can't play your bigger games on your PS Vita. Whereas this type of thing here, especially if they're showing games like Skyrim coming to this thing, I mean, it could be a pretty neat little console. I mean, it's probably still going to be a little outdated when compared to Sony, Microsoft, but they've got enough IPs. Yeah, I know. But I mean, they've got Mario and Zelda, and therefore they'll always have a place at the table. But I don't know. Well, time will tell. I mean, we don't know enough about it right now. I'm just eagerly excited for the first time about Nintendo since probably 1986.
Well, it's the first time I've actually had an interest in a long time. Like, I think the last thing I ever got from them was the GameCube because there was Harvest Moon games on it. So I wanted it. And the GameCube was okay. The controller sucks. It doesn't make any sense. You can't reach half the shit on it. But it was, I mean, it was okay. But I've never, ever since then, like, you know, we had a Wii, but it was for, like, the little kids in the house. Like, it was all little kid games on it and stuff. Like, I never really cared much for it. I never got, like, the Wii U. I never got any of that. And this is the first time where I'm like, you know what, I might. We'll see.
But if we're talking about bad controllers with Nintendo, I have to go back to the N64. I mean, what the hell was that thing? I mean, what was that thing?
Not long ago, I went back and played games on the Nintendo 64, and I was really bad at them because I couldn't figure out how to use the controller. Because do I hold on to the two outside sticks, or do I put one hand on the middle stick and one hand on the outside stick? I don't have enough hands for that controller.
And that was the thing. They were trying to be innovative in the sense that, well, you can hold it like this if you're playing a shooting game, and you can hold it like this if you're playing a racing game.
But a lot of the games, you had to do both things.
Yeah, I know. And it was almost like they didn't really think it through. So, and I feel like that's kind of been the case with a lot of their consoles and a lot of their ideas. Granted, the Wii was an interesting idea. Graphically, it could not compete, but the idea was good enough that it sold a lot of consoles. The Wii U, unfortunately, was not that big of a break from the Wii, and I think it was just too damn clunky in what it was trying to do, and it did not impress people. I think this could be their way of getting back in the market. So,
yeah, I mean, it seems interesting. I have concerns for that controller, but we'll see because when it comes time, like, they're gonna have it in the stores. I'm gonna be able to actually use it, and I'll have a valid opinion. It just looks weird to me because it's new. So, I mean, right now I'm just like, that looks kind of weird, but we'll see when it actually comes to pass. I mean, maybe it'll bring them back to being relevant for me.
Hopefully,
because I want them to be relevant. Have you seen the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer?
Yes, I have. I saw the announcement trailer, if that's the one we're talking about.
I think so. Because I've never played any of them, but I watched it.
Oh, yeah?
And it looks really, really pretty.
Oh, yes, it does.
And having all those cowboys on horses riding off together got me real excited. Like, it's now on my to-do list. I'm like, right now I have to play Red Dead, immediately.
You really do.
I have a lot to get through now.
You know, I never played Red Dead Revolver, but I did play Red Dead Redemption.
I have that one, and people tell me I don't need to play that one.
The Revolver one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you really don't.
I own it just because I think I picked it up as a kid, not knowing what the hell it was, and I just never played it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played it either, but based on everything I've heard about it, I would agree with that assessment because Redemption is just such an amazing game. In my opinion, Redemption is the best game that Rockstar has ever made. And I put it even above Vice City, which would probably be my second favorite game they've ever made.
That was put on, what was it? Was it Games Radar that put something out saying that too?
I don't know.
Games Radar had an article about why Red Dead Redemption was the best game that Rockstar's ever made.
Well, they'd be right. I mean, I haven't read that article, but I mean, it's definitely my favorite. So.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it's probably just a huge opinion piece, but it's still... Because some people might hate that game. I wouldn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played it. I don't have a damn clue.
There are morons everywhere who would hate that game. Sure.
Oh, so if you don't like that game, your opinion means nothing and you're a moron.
Shake, all I'm going to say is...
Just letting you know.
when you play that game, if you don't like that game, I am going to be shocked. I will be so shocked. It will floor me.
Well, I mean, you know me pretty well. You know what I like, so I'm not too concerned.
Yeah.
And now I'm stressed out because if I don't like it, our friendship is put into question.
No, I think you'll love it. It's a very awesome character. It's a great character piece. Now granted, I love westerns. Like I love Tombstone,
yes, you do.
Young Guns, all of them.
I mean, I like Sam Elliott, so.
Sam Elliott is amazing.
Is that okay?
So,
Does that count as western?
yes, I mean
Okay, good.
I would say he as an entity counts as a western in and of himself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, he is a western movie in his own rights. But yeah, I'm excited by the trailer. I mean, it didn't really show, I don't think, gameplay.
Oh no, they're just they're teasing us.
Yeah, but it looks really pretty. Like, it makes me wonder, like, do I get to go hunting and bring my kills back on my horse? Do I get to go camping in the woods?
You could go hunting in Red Dead Redemption. And it was actually a very fun mini game. And then you would go and you would skin the animals.
Oh,
whereas on
that's
this one,
cool.
I think in this one it looks like you'll be able to actually put them on your horse or whatever and take them into town to trade them.
Yeah, that's what when I saw that, I'm like, okay, is this going to be something that I can do?
Oh yeah,
because that's that I'm excited for.
And then when you're playing like the online version of Redemption, even though there wasn't a lot there, it was just so much fun getting on a horse, riding around, every now and then encountering other players and getting into random shootouts in town. I mean, it was just fun. It was just silly fun. I remember one time just camping out on like a hill, and they had the voice chat set up so that you couldn't hear people unless they got closer to you.
That's good, though. I like that.
Oh, yeah, and like suddenly I start hearing these people chatting, and there's like this whole posse riding by. So I pick up my rifle, I aim it out, and I just shoot one of these guys in the head. And they're like scrambling around to try to find me because you only appear on the radar if you fire or if you're like running. So if I'm just sitting there still, it's going to be very hard for them to see me unless they happen to see me as soon as I shot. And it was just fun just kind of hiding out there and getting into a shootout in the woods like a true Western. So I loved the online. I loved the story. I loved everything about that game. I am so excited that we're getting another one.
Well, I'm curious to see now with the success they've had with GTA Online and everything else and how much they've learned from that, what they're going to do with the online for this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably going to be miles ahead of the first one. I mean, because you see what they do with GTA. It's constant. Like, they're updating it, doing new things to it all the time, adding new events. And things are always changing in that small universe because it's really not that big, but they always keep changing it up so that people want to keep going back, and people do.
It's their bread and butter, and they make a lot of money off of selling those shark cards and stuff to people.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're definitely going to have something very similar to that in Redemption. I would hope they even take it further and do more exciting things.
I think they will, though, especially because they can obviously see that people are still playing the online from the last one. And that has to be surprising to them to see that people are still using that even though it's kind of bare bones and there's not much there.
And there is one thing I wanted to mention in regards to that. That is that if you log into GTA Online between right now and I believe it's November 1st, Rockstar...
it's October 31st.
October 31st, thank you. And they'll send you that check or that in-game check, so to speak, of that 200. I think it's 250,000.
It's 250,000 GTA cash, and it's deposited into your bank on November 4th.
Nice. So I've got to do that.
Yeah, and you get a Pegasi Vortex motorcycle too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you get that, and they're also offering 30% off a lot of their vehicles through November 7th, with all prerequisites disabled, so you can just get them.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got to go on and get a bunch of shit. Like a bunch of the tattoos are 30% off. Like a lot of vehicles are. I'm looking at them right now, and there's a new race that's just for Halloween, so I'll be doing that. And there's a new gameplay mode called Lost versus the Damned, and all that. But there's a few games that are doing Halloween events. Besides that, like Overwatch, it has a bunch of skins. I don't play Overwatch. I don't give a fuck about Overwatch, but that's there for those that do.
Now, did you hear anything about that Dead by Daylight thing with Halloween?
I was just going to tell you.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear. I haven't heard much about it. I saw something about it on Twitter, but I don't know a thing about it other than that.
I think it's, oh god, I was just looking at it on Steam too. I'm pretty sure it's like, it's $7 or $8 to buy it. You get a whole new map. You get to play as, oh, what's the girl's name?
Are we talking about
It's a character
Jamie
from the
Lee
Halloween
Curtis?
movie. No, it's not. Shit, maybe it is. I don't know, but I can't remember the character's name because it doesn't look like her. So, but you're in the neighborhood that Halloween takes place in.
Oh my God, really?
Michael Myers has a lot of, like he gets, like if you let your kill go and run away, he gets like special buffs and stuff because that's what he would do in the movies all the time. He'd never catch anybody. He'd just get right next to them and let them go.
Is this going to be a multiplayer game or is it a single player?
Dead by Daylight is just added. It's added to the regular game.
Oh,
so yeah.
Could we play it as a co-op experience?
Yes, you can.
Oh my God, Shake.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put in some money for this.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh my God! You know what? We got some. Well, obviously not this week, but we'll be getting.
Laurie Strode is who it was. It says it right here. That's just the character. If any of you care about the Halloween movie, you know who that is. But yeah, he's a new killer in the game.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty exciting because I mean, apparently it's a lot of fun, but he's really hard. Like, you know the killer in Dead by Daylight who has the bell and who's just a complete piece of shit who disappears and then reappears? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's apparently on that level. He's pretty OP. But it's Michael Myers, so I don't know what anyone expected there. But that's a thing that they released, and it's getting really good reviews. People are really happy with it. Some people think it was a little too pricey, but I mean, it's from the Halloween movie. It's a whole map. It's a map of the town where Halloween takes place. Granted, it only takes place on like a street, so it's not going to be huge. But none of the maps in that game are huge. You still got like the hook thing going on. He doesn't have a special way of killing anybody. That would be different. But it is the town. There's like all the cop cars everywhere. I think you get to go through Laurie's house from the Halloween movie.
See, I don't think I've even seen the movies, so I would be completely lost.
But you know what, though? It'll be cool because once you do see the movie, you've already been there. You've, like, walked through the house, you've walked around the neighborhood, you've been in the yards. So it'll be kind of cool either way. Then Destiny, which no one gives a shit about Destiny.
I was about to say, why are we talking about Destiny?
They got shit. I mean, you can get, if you like those races and the sparrows, you can get one that looks like a broom. Congratulations.
Oh,
nerds.
Nice. That's actually kind of neat.
Yeah.
Now, you give me a Harry Potter skin. Actually, I prefer the Ron Weasley skin. Give me a Ron Weasley skin.
Yeah. And I want to be a redhead on my lost broom. But yeah, they've got that going on. And you have to find the broom, apparently. So go have fun, Destiny players. Waste your fucking time and money.
Go fucking mine for that damn broom.
I just have no love for Destiny. It's a very pretty game, but it just sucks. Pokemon Go. Until November 1st, you earn double candy from doing stuff in the game. I don't play Pokemon Go anymore. I got over it. Yeah.
When did that stop?
Forever ago. The moment I got a new phone that sucks. I
can't
do anything on my new phone, so I just said fuck it. And you can also find more spooky type Pokemon now. I've never played Paragon, but it looks like a lot of fun. You can get a lot of new skins in that right now. Dying Light's doing something interesting, Razzle.
Dying Light?
Yep, from October 28th to the 30th, there's a global community event called Zombie Fest that you go into and you compete for the most kills. You earn a gold tier weapon, which you can use in campaign mode and access to new rankings. If you're into EA Sports games, oh yeah, Madden is boosting players till November 4th. FIFA is also having boosted players, and NHL is doing a virtual trick-or-treat.
Oh, virtual trick-or-treat.
Yeah, it allows you to collect 5 candy collectibles and unlock high-value players. World of Warcraft's doing what it's always done, so I'm not going to talk about it.
World of Warcraft.
Fuck it. Elder Scrolls Online's doing a witching festival. Counter-Strike's doing pumpkin heads, but no one cares about any of them. So really, the coolest thing here is Dead by Daylight and GTA, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are
Because
both
I
pretty
gotta get
cool
on
games.
GTA and do that stuff. Because GTA is gonna be fun anyway. I gotta get all my masks, all my stuff, and Dead by Daylight released really cool DLC.
Hmm.
I'm excited for those. I don't really care about anything else. The rest can eat shit. But
Well, I was reading about the upcoming games on Plus and
so
Gold.
was I.
Yeah, it looks
Just
like
on
Gold.
Plus. I didn't see Gold.
Oh, you didn't see Gold?
No, because I had just been reading it before we started talking today.
I think Gold has. Okay, well I know like Plus has the Rapture game.
Which I
And
think is worth picking up. Because I
yeah,
have every intention of playing it again. Possibly over a bottle of wine. Because I can do that with that game. That game, I think it can be played a million different ways. And I really want to go into it again. And I think everyone should pick that one up. That should, like the other PlayStation Plus games, I didn't really care for myself. But everybody's gone to the Rapture you should get. I already own it, so it doesn't matter. But other people should get it.
yeah, and also with the PS3, it comes with Costume Quest 2. Xbox One had that about a month or two. Well, actually about 2 or 3 months ago. It was right before my Xbox One died because I remember picking that one up and I started playing it. And it was neat. It's definitely a good little Halloween type game. And Xbox, on the other hand, has a game that I've really been looking forward to playing, but I've never gotten around to buying. So perfect for me, Murdered Soul Suspect.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, it's coming out on Xbox One for a live gold, so it'll be free for gold members, and
Yep,
it'll be
I'm getting
available
it.
on November 16th. So that'll be mid-November when that one hits.
Yep,
It
that
looks
one
like
I want. I've wanted that one for a while though.
they've also got something like a dungeon brawler called Super Dungeon Brothers, so I don't know what that is. It looks like they also get Far Cry 3, which will be free. I'm hoping that means it'll be compatible on the Xbox One, or the Blood Dragon DLC for Far Cry 3, which I've also wanted to play for quite a while.
I know,
And
I've had every intention of playing that, but just never got around to it.
so yeah, I think Xbox wins this year. I mean this month, because I just think they've got a better lineup right now than PS Plus. But that's kind of been the case for the last few months. I feel like Microsoft's been putting a little bit more energy in it. Sony's got a little lack, even though Sony you can still pick up. Hopefully, I think you can still get it right now. The
They had Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. That's what I was trying to say.
The remastered one. I made sure I got that.
Good, because that's a really good one. And if you've never played Resident Evil before, that's the perfect one to play first because it's pretty much just a complete remake of the first game. Same storyline. They've changed a few things here and there, but it's so more fluid than the original game. And the original one's sometimes hard to go back to.
Is the Jill
but-
Sandwich line still in there?
No, they took out the Jill Sandwich. They took out all the cheesy berry lines. So that one's out, and a
That's
couple
upsetting.
of other berry lines.
See, I've never
But-
even played it, but like I know of Jill Sandwich.
Yeah. You were almost a Jill Sandwich.
I mean, that would have
And
been
then-
great to get.
And then there's another line early on in the game on the original that's not in the remake where Barry, they come across this pool of blood, and Barry says, "Blood. I hope this isn't Chris's blood."
Oh my god. Barry, get your shit together. Who are you?
Barry was quite the character.
But yeah, I made sure I picked that one up. I mean, I think Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is a good pick. I mean, it's
Oh,
good
yeah.
to get if you don't have it. It's a very relaxing game.
It is.
And I don't know, you're interested even though it's so slow moving. Like, you're just really interested in everything. And I know I didn't explore every single place because I'd get distracted. And I'd be like, oh, I want to go here and see what's in here. And everywhere you go, like, you get rewarded for it. So that it's really cool. But Murdered Soul Suspect I've wanted for a long time, and I just never got it. So I'm excited for that.
Murder Soul Suspect, I would sometimes see it on sale, and I'd be like, I don't know if I
Yeah.
should get it right now yet or not. Maybe I'll wait a little longer. And now finally it's here on Xbox One, so I can finally play it. And it's definitely going to go to the top of my list. And yeah, now that I have my Xbox One back, I also need to get back on Sherlock. Because I was really loving that game before
I
it died.
have it, I just haven't started it, and that I know I'll love because I'm a fiend for Sherlock.
Oh, yeah. I only played the first case, and I can say the game is a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Well, I like being a detective.
me too. I love detective games.
Yeah, I love it. If only they made co-op ones.
That would be an interesting
We could be
dynamic.
partners.
Oh my god, we'll have a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, it could be like L.A. Noire, but we do it together.
That actually would be pretty cool. They could
I
do like
loved
a
LA
Saints
Noir.
Row
Like, I really
open
wish
world.
we had that again.
I know, and then the company's not even around anymore.
So upsetting.
I mean, they made such a fantastic game. Like that game, I felt like it was the perfect detective game because it's open worldish and you go from case to case.
It doesn't feel linear at all.
No, it doesn't. And the best thing about that is you could just play a case and then come back next week and play another case and just like spread it out and you'd be fine. Like it was like playing episodes of Law and Order, except in video game form in a better era. And it was so much fun. Like
And
that
the
game.
thing is, the game still is really nice now. Because I just played it not that long ago, and it still looks really good. It's still really fun to play, and I have to play it again. And when you buy the game, they give you this little thing in the game case, if you buy a physical copy, and it's like this little white envelope that's got these little films in it that have, and you have to find those areas in the game, and it's hidden locations where you can find stuff. It's really cool.
I don't remember getting that, but I think I got the Xbox 360 version, which was like 4 different discs.
I got that one too.
I just don't remember getting anything like that with it, but maybe.
Yeah, I got like this little white thing in there that was just full of these little slips, that were like these little films that were secret locations in the game. But they didn't tell you that. You just had the films. And then like I remembered, like I saw one in the game. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that on my little film? And then I looked at the films and I was like, oh my god, it's really cool. And you'd find stuff there.
I was because I seem to remember pre-ordering it. I just don't remember what it came with, and I was. I remember getting like these extra cases with it. If you pre-ordered, you got like a extra case that came with it that I think they probably released later on down the line anyway. But
yeah, it's so good. God, I love that game.
Have you heard about this Bethesda issue?
I read an article title. I did not open it. Go ahead.
Basically, since we were on pre-orders real fast, Bethesda is going to stop sending out review copies of games until a day before the game's release, which is an interesting move. And a lot of people
Yes, I briefly read that. Yeah.
Like, I feel like there are two sides that have been really just kind of arguing to death about why they either think this is a great idea or a bad idea. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think Bethesda's going to hurt too bad from doing this, partly because, in my opinion, I think the world has changed enough where games are different now. Like, I don't even pre-order games the way I used to. I used to pre-order any game that I thought looked remotely interesting.
Yep.
Nowadays, I only pre-order games that I've been really looking forward to. Case in point, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be a pre-order. I don't give a shit about reviews because I'm not going to read any. I'm just going to pre-order the game. I'm going to pre-order the next Elder Scrolls without giving a shit about reviews. There are some games I'll just do that for. Other games, I wait a while. I don't even think about picking them up. And a lot of reviewing sites have been like, this hurts the consumer and this, that, and the other. And, maybe they have some valid points. I don't know. But I just feel like in today's climate, me personally, the only reviewers I ever listen to are the ones on like review sections of either Amazon or like if it's a game I'm not sure about, I'll go and read reviews there. I'll look and see what the star rating is. I'll be like, okay, I'll throw some money at this.
Yeah.
But I just don't pre-order. I mean, what do you think about the whole thing?
Well, before I pre-ordered Gears of War 4. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I hadn't pre-ordered a game since Assassin's Creed 3. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a review person. Like, I don't base my opinion off reviews because there's been times when games have gotten rave reviews and I don't like it. Like, it's just not for me. And there's been times when a game's been given shit reviews and I'm in love with the thing. So I can't ever base my judgment of something off of reviews. Sometimes I'll look at them too, just to be like, is this something I should put money into now or wait till it goes on a sale? Because regardless if I'm interested in something, reviews aren't going to change my mind. I still want to try it regardless.
Right.
It's just a matter of how much I'm going to be willing to spend, or it's like, okay, am I going to spend the $60 right when it comes out, or am I going to wait a couple months until there's a sale? That's the most they can sway me is when I'm going to get it, but I'm still going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, if I've already decided I'm going to pre-order something, I'm going to get it. Otherwise, I'm going to wait. And I think a great case in point of all this, it would be No Man's Sky, which got huge hype from reviewers.
Yeah.
And then this thing launches, and it's a disaster. And so the other thing with reviewing sites is when they get early copies, these are copies of the game that aren't actually the release versions. So what a lot of people have pointed out who are okay with what Bethesda's doing, they've been saying, well, most of these reviewing sites aren't going to point out bugs. They're not going to point out glitches and things because they've probably been told by the developer that, these things are going to be fixed in a day one patch that the reviewers don't have access to. So why would they mention it in the review?
Right.
So it's almost like why even read the damn review if it's not actually about what the day one product is? I mean, it's not the same as a movie. I mean, a movie, you can get that thing early, watch it, review it, and it's the exact same movie that anybody's going to go see on opening night. They're not going to fix glitches.
Even so, I mean, it's relative. I mean, everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody likes different things. So I don't know. Like, I don't take reviewing seriously.
I don't think they sent off review copies of Mafia 3, which was probably a smart idea because people probably would have made a big issue about language in that game. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. I don't know.
Well, they did talk about it in panels. At PAX, they brought it up that, they wanted to stick true to the time and that it's going to make people uncomfortable, and they're not doing it just to make people uncomfortable. They're being true to the time.
Right, and I think most people that's what most people wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that I think if they sent out those review copies early, there's going to be somebody out there who wants to make a name for themselves.
It's
and
something to bitch about.
Right, and I know Bethesda's already put certain review sites on their blacklist where they don't send them review copies at all because of reviews that have been completely unfair to them. So yeah.
Well, I guess I know that we need those things because people, we all base what we're gonna buy off of reviews and stuff. But I just don't. They're just not. I don't know.
No, see, I don't even agree with that because I feel like the way video games are now, people get more information from streamers and they probably get more information from user reviews than they do from these, these gaming media sites.
Oh, no, I just meant we need people reviewing things in general, not those. Yeah, we don't need that. Right. I just mean you need to see what the general opinions are of things. I don't think we need things like that.
Like even 12 or 15 years ago, it was a different story. I remember 12 or 15 years ago, I would go to GameSpot?
Oh, yeah.
.com?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always say GameStop and then GameSpot, and I can't figure it out, but it's GameSpot, the
I keep
website.
Forgetting that exists. Does it still exist?
The website?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Oh, okay.
But I used to go there all the time just to read reviews. Mm-hmm. And I would do that. And in fact, that's how I discovered KOTOR for the first time, was by reading a review on it. And so I feel like, though, that the industry has changed to the point that we don't rely on those sites the way we used to. And we don't rely on those people's opinions the way we used to. Because most of us have gotten accustomed to what we like. And a lot of developers have gone more into specialties. For instance, like Bethesda, even though they're a publisher, they're also, developers, and they've done Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, which have a very similar feel to each other. For me, those are always going to be pre-order games because I've always enjoyed playing those games. And BioWare used to be a pre-order company for me. Now it's more of a sometimes wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on with them half the time anymore. So.
And I'll tell you, I don't buy season passes anymore. I used to buy them when they were like $15 or $20. Now they're about the cost of a game, and I'm like, yeah, but you only get this with it. Forget it. No.
Well, I get season passes to the Telltale games.
I admit I get season passes to my wrestling games, and I sometimes get season passes to games that I really, really love. But most of the times I don't buy them. No.
Yeah, I only do it for Telltale because it's cheaper than buying episode by episode.
Oh yeah.
Those season passes, you're saving money.
Well, I agree because those season passes though are about buying the full game. Really, it's about buying the full game versus buying a fifth of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Where most season passes are just like, hey, you're gonna pre-purchase content that may be worth it.
And that's not an additional cost though. I mean, that's like because you can get like episodes for what, like $3 to $5 or something like that. or you can
Yeah,
buy
it's
this
it's it's
pass.
almost the same. Like a lot of the times, if you get the season pass right away, you're saving money
Right.
buying
That's
it
what I'm
that
getting
way
at.
rather than waiting episode by episode.
And that's what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
basically you're basically talking about the buying of the game though with the Telltale game when it comes
Yeah,
to a
it's the only
pass.
season pass I do.
Right. And that one's the one that that one makes perfect sense because in me that's not even really a season pass, even though they did kind of really I think adhere to what a season pass should be.
Yep.
I just think of it as buy full price or buy each episode individually to get the full game.
Yeah.
And it always makes more sense to go with the cheaper option there. So buy the season pass.
Yeah, but I get why some people go episode by episode because maybe you don't like it after the first one, so why bother buying the whole thing? I mean, but I have a tendency to love everything they do, so I just buy them all.
And they've got a Walking Dead season 3 coming out in December.
Oh, it's December?
Yeah.
Yep, Merry Christmas. I'm excited. I'm ready. Because the third episode of the Batman game just came out, so I'll be doing that today.
Oh my goodness.
That's actually really good. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And now I know that's coming out in December. I'm going to die. Okay, I got to replay the first ones. Yep, season 1 and season 2. Here I go.
Good luck with that.
It's just going to be heartbreaking.
Yes.
That's all. But I've got... Do you know when in December?
I think it
Do
was
you have
like
a
the
release
31st.
date, Razzle?
I mean, I don't think this is an official release date.
Do you have
I
a
think this
release
is
date,
just
Razzle?
an idea where they were talking about possibly
Jesus.
December 31st.
Excuse me, people. I'm going to Google.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to help. People are probably wondering.
Well, I think people have probably Googled it by now.
Listen, you leave me alone. You leave me alone. When was this?
When
this
was
from
that?
September.
Well, that's got to be out of date.
Might have slipped their release date. Okay. Release date. Come on, people.
Well, while you're doing that,
They
I wanted
said
to-
November.
Oh, they said November?
It says November 2016.
Oh, well, maybe it's coming out late November then, so you get it
So-
early December.
So there you go, people. Razzle's wrong.
I'm always wrong about that kind of thing, though.
It's okay. I'll fix it for you every time.
I was
But
just
I'm
going to
just
say really
saying.
fast, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want to say I've been playing Lego Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and I've played the first 2 movies, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's one of the best Lego games that I've played, but I haven't played a lot of them, obviously. but
Well, we
I've
did
had a
all
lot-
the Star Wars movies.
Yes, we did.
That was really fun. Those were good.
It was. That was actually their first, I think, their first game they ever released was the Star Wars.
So how long did it take you to get through the first 2 movies?
A long time. Like I'm really surprised at how long it took me to get through those 2 films.
How long would you say?
Quite a few hours invested in that game. Like, well, I mean, each movie is a lot longer than the movies in the Star Wars one. Okay, I mean it's
Well,
like
right.
the first-
They're longer movies anyway.
But what I love about it is you learn the spells, and so you actually use the spells to do things like the Leviosa spell you use to do things here, and then you learn the ridiculous spell eventually. I haven't learned it at this stage, but sometimes you take over a wiser wizard who has that spell. So yeah, I mean there's quite a few spells in there, and they each do a different thing, and it's about learning, not really learning. I mean, it's a Lego game, but it's just about a relaxing gaming experience, and the sets are great, the music's great, and they put a lot of attention to detail in terms of trying to turn it into a Lego game experience, like much more than they did with Star Wars even. So
I'm gonna have to get them now.
I mean, they're a lot of fun. So,
I gotta like rewatch all the movies though.
yeah, you really do.
I have to like go on that journey. I have to
It's worth
find
doing.
them though. Like it's a chore.
Yeah, they don't have them anywhere unless
Yeah,
you buy
I'm
them.
not buying them. I just don't. I don't have the energy for that. But I mean, I will play them. I remember playing the one on the PS2, where it was like, it looked really good for Harry Potter at the time, and like you would go through Diagon Alley, and I'd get to travel through the school. That
Are
was
you talking
a lot
about
of
the movie
fun.
game or the?
Yeah, the movie game. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to play through those soon. I'm going to get them on my PS2, and going to play through all of them.
They're really fun. I mean, I played a couple of them, and I just I thought at the time I was like, oh my god, this looks so real. Like I'm in Hogwarts. This is amazing. But now they probably don't look like that.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, hell, I'll play it. I'm told one of them was a co-op game, but it was on PS2, so it's not one we could put on the stream, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. It would have to be a couch co-op game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some like overcomplicated ways to get them to work online, but we are not smart people. So it's just never going to happen. But when I was looking at when I was like looking around through reviews and stuff, I stumbled. I didn't really stumble, I looked for it. I looked for Gears of War 4.
Yeah.
And I know we just started this last week, and I was really nervous for Razzle to play it because I thought he wouldn't like it because he wasn't a very big fan of the first three. He enjoyed Judgment, but the first three games did not seem like they would be his choice of a game to play.
Yeah, I had some issues with the trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah. I love them, but he suffered for me, so I appreciate it. But I can say that after starting Gears of War 4, I was really nervous at first, but then I was like increasingly confident that Razzle enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoy it more so far. Like, we're about halfway through the game at this point. It's still fairly new, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But we're like halfway through the game, and it is so much more fun than the first three games. Like, I really love it.
Yeah, it's much better put together. It's the story flows really well. The graphics are beautiful. The gameplay is very easy to pick up and learn. Whereas the original Gears, I always felt completely lost. I never had any idea what was going on, even trying to follow the story. The combat, in my opinion, was a little overly complicated. I remember one area where I kept running forward and dying over and over, and I could never figure out why I was dying. And then you said something about the bats and the darkness.
Yeah, you couldn't go in the dark because when you go in the dark, the krill come down and tear you apart.
Yeah, and I hated that game. I did not like it. I didn't hate it, now that I think about it. It just was not a very fun experience the first time around. I probably enjoyed it a lot more the second time around, but Gears of War 4 is much better, and I feel like they take a lot of the things that worked in the original trilogy and Judgment and bring them back, because there is one area, this isn't giving anything away, but if you've ever played Judgment, you know how you set up your scene for battle, you like place down things and get ready for the fight, because I love Judgment.
Judgment was so much fun. We both had a lot of fun playing that one. That was good.
There's a level in Part 4 that is basically taking that and putting it into this game, and I loved playing through that level because it was like going back to Judgment for me, which was a game, like I said, I really loved playing Judgment. So maybe it's because it wasn't as hard to follow for me and the combat was a little better. So I felt like they had worked out a lot of the kinks that, for me, hurt the trilogy. But Part 4 is better than all four of those games, and so far anyway, and let's see where it goes.
It is, and they did not stray from Gears' roots at all. It's still very much Gears of War. It reeks of Gears of War, but like they finally changed up the enemies, whereas the first four games you're fighting the same things for 4 games. Nothing's really different. Like it's the same shit, different game. Sometimes you get new big monsters, but it's the same shit. Hit the yellow part, it dies. Like now you've got completely different monsters. And I feel like, at least with some of them, I've felt that like we have to actually do things strategically. Like there's this one thing called a Guardian that flies up and has a shield around the front of it. And if you get it to focus on one person, other people can go behind it and always be hitting it. Mm-hmm. And it's just and then there's like these really big, overpowered robot things, DBs, I think they're called. DBs, yeah. And the bigger ones, you got to take them down first. And I just feel like there's a lot more stuff to do when you're fighting with friends, too. Like, you actually have to work as a team instead of just 2 people just constantly running through killing things. I felt like there was a lot more teamwork involved when we were playing it, rather than how it was in the first 4 games.
Well, and also the original trilogy, I felt like I was getting left behind a lot, because I didn't... partly because it was completely new to me. And so a lot of the times I felt like I was just kind of that weak link that was just way back, and just had to keep being thrown forward every time, because you know how the game will throw you forward.
It's like, oh, hi, I'm here now.
And it's like so I just didn't really enjoy it the first time around. I was constantly just kind of being jerked around, and I was just losing my
Well, the thing
patience
is,
with it.
the first games they don't give you. I mean, granted, I don't think a game should hold your hand, but they don't guide you how to play it effectively, because I remember when you're in the training missions in the first game, you're literally thrown into the middle of a war very
Yeah.
quickly. And it's not like you can back up and get away from things, because things are on top of you. Like, they break through the door and they're on top of you. They're within 2 feet of you in seconds. You don't have time to sit and learn things. Whereas this one, you are still in warlike situations, but it's much more streamlined and you feel like you're actually able to learn it. Because it is easy to pick it back up. At least, I mean, for me, I've played all of them a million times, but still, for learning it, it's just a lot more streamlined, and that they make it so you actually have the time to figure out what you're doing, how to swap weapons. Because I remembered in the other games, like, you would ask me the same questions a lot. And in this, like, you haven't really asked me anything. So, like I think you asked me how to swap weapons once, because they don't really tell you in any of the games how to do that, and it's just the D-pad. But they don't. But it's just, this game's a lot easier to learn. It's a lot more fun to play with people, and I didn't want to stop playing when we did. Like, I was just like, I want to keep going. We're getting so far, because the story really had me in it. Like, I wanted to keep going. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. Whereas the other games, the story doesn't really drive you as much, if at all, for some people.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But they gave it, in all the reviews, they gave it a 9.2.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, they said they stuck a lot to the roots. They didn't really change a lot of the Gears elements. They didn't mention how, like, combat was easier and everything, and they didn't seem to think that the story was any better than it was in the other games. So I think they're wrong there, because I think it's much better. They spent a lot more time on it. And you're invested in people. You know your characters. They're not just big dudes in outfits.
Yeah, that was the other thing. They spend time actually getting to let you know who you are, and just kind of who all the characters are and the dynamic of everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original one, I had no frickin' clue who anybody was, or why they knew each other, or even why we were doing the things we were doing. So it was just kind of like, okay, we're in war, shoot the bad guys, go to the next stage.
Just don't die. Let's murder them. Let's get to the next place. Is it over yet? But for people that are fans of Marcus Phoenix, you already know that he's in this game. And the dynamic between him and JD was really funny to watch. Like, I enjoyed every interaction they had, because they have such a great relationship to watch and to listen to. Like, I love the dialogue that goes on in that game when you're just playing, running through. It's a lot of fun. But what else do I have here? I have stuff about The Last of Us.
The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nolan North may have announced a second one.
I've heard rumors about it for a while. Like, I heard this person say this person say that.
Yeah.
So what did Nolan North say?
Nolan North was talking. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, unfortunately, I won't be in the second game. Spoiler alert. He's like, my character met an untimely demise. He's like, but I won't be in the second game. So he was saying that, and then people brought that up to Troy Baker. And Troy Baker doesn't know anything about it, or so he says. Although I don't think, I mean, I'm pretty sure we've talked about this way before the podcast existed. I don't think Joel and Ellie will be in the second game. If a second game comes to pass, I don't think it'll be about them.
Yeah, I have no idea what the second game would be about. I would imagine that Joel would not be in it unless he's just like a side character.
There's reasons I think Joel won't be in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but who knows? I mean, some people have mentioned that Ellie might be an adult in this one and therefore might be the protagonist. I mean, that's possible. I don't know. But right now we don't know anything. There's like a billion things they could do.
Yeah, because Nolan North just came out saying that. He's like, oh yeah, in the second game, I won't be there. But he could have just been being Nolan North. Like, just talking out of his ass. But I mean, I would be fine if they never made another one. Like,
Me too. I'd be fine. Like,
it
just
doesn't
do something
need
new.
to be continued. Like, if they stayed in that same universe, that'd be really cool. Because I liked that world. But I mean, they don't need to go back. If
No,
anything, it would just either be like a fan service or cash grab kind of game. Because they don't need to do it.
I still remember when they announced the game back at the E3 and they showed off that gameplay where Joel was walking around killing people in just a multitude of ways you could kill people. And it was just a really neat looking game. And I just remember thinking, wow, this is going to be cool.
And it was beautiful.
And what would have made it even better would have been if they made it co-op. But, hey, you know what?
Can't have everything.
I'll get over it
eventually. Co-op would have been hard in, like, the part where you're just Ellie in the winter. And then when you're just Joel trying to find her, like, those would be hard to co-op.
Well, I mean, they could have added, like, a pet dog or something. So
yeah, some kind of weird critter.
Yeah, why not?
They could have done that. And on top of The Last of Us, since I was looking at it, I found this whole thing about the science behind it. About how they got like a bunch of people together, like a bunch of scientists, like a vaccinologist, and all these people talking about like how real The Last of Us could be. And apparently, like they were talking about how like order in society is fragile already, and that we would lose control within hours, minutes, so that all of that was depicted perfectly. And that like having like the isolated communities keeping the healthy in and the sick out was kind of backwards, because they don't usually do that. They make little isolated things to keep the sick in. And that if we did have, because like the cordyceps virus in the game is a fungus, the only way a person could get sick from that and die is if you had no immune system. So it could not happen to people. And what's depressing about the science that they did behind it is, through the game, I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it. You find this girl who is, like, bit, and she doesn't turn into whatever the hell they are. So they want to take her so they can, like, make a vaccine from her body. The vaccinologist was like, it would be absolutely impossible to do that. They couldn't do it. Because there's almost no people left, so they wouldn't have the resources or the ability to make the vaccines for the people that were remaining on the planet, and we have to assume that there's still a large amount of people still alive. There would have to be several different strains of the vaccine. It would need time to grow and be commercially produced. And if you, like, they make plants for individual vaccines to grow. At a minimum, they could do it in 2 years, but for it to work, it would take up to 10 years. For that vaccine to actually exist, and it couldn't, because Ellie couldn't make that happen, which was really depressing to read. But it was fun. It was fun to listen to all these like scientists break down everything that could and couldn't happen. Like, yeah, no, they could never make a vaccine from Ellie, so killing her would have been useless. It just wouldn't have helped anybody, because they don't have like a plant built to make a vaccine. They don't have any of the resources. There was like 7 people in that whole hospital. They couldn't have done it.
Point, the science behind a lot of games would, I think, blow the lid off of quite a few of them. But, it's just good fiction. It's
yeah, but it was interesting to see them take it apart, because they said a lot of it, could be. But
in fact, in comparison to something like Star Trek, where science has constantly said, yeah, this is possible. And yeah, I think the only thing science is currently baffled about how it would be possible would be the holodeck.
Yeah.
Granted, we do have things that are very similar to that right now, but we don't have that because it's almost like you're taking space and turning it into something more than space is. So it's just a little weird how that would work, but maybe it's just beyond our understanding right now, and someone will finally put it together.
Yeah, but it was a really cool video. I'm gonna link it in the description, because they get really into it, of like what could and could not happen. And when you finish the video, there's like one of the little buttons you can click on the top of the YouTube video to watch them talk about it even more. And it's just really interesting when they go into it. I was just really depressed when the vaccinologist was like, absolutely not, she couldn't save anybody. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. That hurts me. I traveled all this way. Can you imagine if Joel had heard that as he's traveling? He was like, what? But then he would have felt better about, not letting it happen.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't feel guilty. It's like, oh, okay. This feels good. It's okay now. Everything's all right. But I went crazy looking into that. One other quick thing for people that care. I know you watch it. I just don't know if you're caught up on the Sherlock show.
I'm not.
Okay. But you watch it, right?
I've seen some of it. Yes.
Oh, Jesus, fuck. Okay.
I haven't. I'm not very. I'm like what 2 years into it. So.
Oh dear Lord, we gotta get you caught up. They've got every season on Netflix. You gotta get caught up because season 4 is starting January 1st.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's right around the corner, and they just announced it, and it's like, really, it's that soon? Thanks, TV. But I don't know if that's January 1st for them, over there, because it comes on the air here on like PBS.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't know if we even get it on BBC America.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can watch it on BBC, but I don't know. What do I know?
Because it's never come out. It's never come out right away. I don't have cable anymore.
All I have is Netflix, Amazon Prime and Hulu. That's it. That's what I got. Yeah. So I don't have a clue.
But that starts January 1st, so we got to get you caught up.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be able to see it in January.
Neither am I.
I mean, why is it so important I get
caught up? It's a journey to go on together, god damn it.
Oh my goodness.
And we all know that The Walking Dead premiered on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did.
I can't talk about it, which is horrible.
Well, what we can talk about, I can talk about the last season.
Yes, which is fine. I don't even care that it's been out forever. I care about this. So
I saw it, a month ago?
Yeah.
I just kind of binged it and went, okay. Yeah.
All you had to say was okay?
No,
all
right.
Not,
oh, my God.
Whatever. I'm offended already.
How did that one start? This past season started with they were in the town.
You know what? I'm going to open Netflix real quick because I can't even remember. I've only watched that season once.
Because they were still in that town with, like, the white picket fences and everything.
That's Alexandria. Yep, they were.
Alexandria.
Yep, they moved in there.
The mayor lady was there, and so everybody was still there. They were kind of all getting used to the new way of life, and Rick Grimes had become a bigger part of that community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that season, what did I think of that season?
Do we start from the beginning?
Well, tell me what happened in the beginning, because I binged it, so I saw most of it in just one day. I just kind of went back to back.
One of the first things that happens in that season is we have the introduction and the quick disintegration of the wolves. The people that have the W's carved into their heads.
Oh, I seem to vaguely recall them.
And Carol kind of becomes one of them to hide from them. And she kind of goes on a murder spree, killing all of them.
Yeah, because they attack the town, and so I remember Carol like puts on she does the W.
She goes like all commando on that shit.
Yeah,
I love her for that.
Yeah, and yeah, so I remember that. I remember like it started off with a bang. I will say that.
Yeah, because then they were also leading a huge herd away from Alexandria that they had found, and they were trying to clear that out. That was all in the very beginning of the season. There was this huge, while people were dealing with that outside of the town, people were being killed mercilessly inside the town.
Yes, I remember all of that and all those. That was a pretty good story arc at the beginning. I would agree.
It was good.
Yes,
and it moved very quickly. And we also get. How did you feel about Morgan coming back?
Morgan, you mean the guy from season 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know we've run into him here and there in seasons, and he's gone through his crazy bullshit.
Because I remembered at the end of the season prior, they had ended an episode with showing him like following the directions to get to Alexandria, and then at the very end of that season, I think he shows up and he sees Rick right after he kills the guy, and he's like, Rick?
And he's like, well, this is an interesting way to see you again.
This is an interesting turn of events.
Hello.
And I remember the last time they saw each other would have been when Morgan had kind of gone crazy.
Yeah, and he was doing his clear thing.
Yeah.
And he was really broken.
Well, I'll say this. I think the best episode of the season was his backstory episode.
I loved that episode.
Yeah, and they had him like that one guy, that doctor guy who captures him, puts him inside of the jail cell that turns out to not be locked.
Yeah.
And yeah, that whole episode was just really good, like from beginning to end. And
I think his name was Ed. I don't remember the actor's name, but he was fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen him in several things. I think, isn't he the actor that was on Drew Carey for a while, or am I thinking of somebody else?
That's what I thought too when I initially saw it, and I never looked into it.
So maybe that is him.
It could be. If we're both thinking the same thing, it could be.
Yeah, it might be him. But yeah, he did a great job. And usually that guy, I think, plays more comedy roles. And so this was kind of a break from that. So yeah, I thought that was a really good episode. Very strong episode.
And it was really quiet. Like there's a lot of dialogue, but it was just quiet.
And I'll say that there are parts of this last season that I absolutely did not like. Like the arc with Carol. Which just completely, in my opinion, they're completely. See, Carol's like my favorite character.
She's also mine. I love where she's come from. I love her.
And I hated what they did with her this past season, where they suddenly had her reverting back to this. It just came out of nowhere, where suddenly she has an issue with killing people, and suddenly all of these things are just cropping up, all because Morgan said something. It's to me, the whole thing I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy any of it. I was sitting here like, what are you doing to this amazing character? You have like the most badass character right here, one of the most epic turns in the entire series, and you're completely shitting on it. And I got really ticked off with it. And that it really turned me off to almost the entire season when they started going that direction with her. Because at first I thought she was pretending. At first I was like, well,
I had thought that too. Because I remember when she meets the when they get captured by that woman and all that, and she like went all crazy, being like acting like she was a religious nut. I knew that was fake.
Yeah.
I knew she was acting there, and I was like, good, because I believed her for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, are you really becoming soft? And I believed that, but then she was really just fucking with her to get out. But then she really didn't want to kill her.
Right.
Like she didn't want to, and I understand that killing as many people as she has takes a toll. It takes a toll on anybody. I mean, we've seen it happen to Rick. We've seen it happen to other people. But the way that it happens to her is like she all of a sudden can't handle the life that she's been living all these years.
And let me tell you why it bothers me. Because I feel like if they were going to do this arc with her, they should have done it right after she had to kill that little girl.
Yeah.
The one who was almost like an adopted daughter to her. Yeah, because that was like a great episode. That fucking episode, I mean, to me, you saw such humanity in Carol. And you saw this brief glimpse of her kind of holding on to that other life. And in fact, that was really the beginning of her issues, I think, with Rick, if I'm remembering this right.
Mm-hmm. Well, because she had really shut down that whole part of her that she was a mom, that she was a wife. She pretty much threw it all away. Like, she acted like she never had it. And she even told people, she's like, that's not me anymore. Like, and even after, you deal with the loss of Sophia, she's like, that's not my daughter. And then that's when she starts to change. Then and there, that's when she's like, nope, I am not doing this anymore.
And so for me, just this out of left field character change. And here's the thing. When I watch Walking Dead, I'm going there because I want to see certain things. One of the things I really enjoy watching is Carol because she's such a fucking badass. And that whole season was pretty much her kind of in a corner crying about having to kill people. And I'm like, what the hell are the writers doing to this character right now? Would you please get your act together and fix this? Because if you were going to do this, you should have done it back then. That would have made sense. I would have been okay with that because then you could show her coming out of that and it would have been more believable. It would have been like, okay, she hit her lowest of lows because after she lost her original daughter, I mean, that was really her big low point, and then she came back with a vengeance. And then to have that same thing happen, but in a way even worse because she's the one who had to actually kill her.
And the thing is, she got to actually, I feel like with her actual daughter, she didn't get to be a mom. Like, she didn't get to have a life. I mean, everything was very controlled, and it was kind of obvious, and her daughter wasn't hers. There was, like, a lot of implication that, like, her father was doing stuff to her. She couldn't get to be a mom. Like, things were very fucked up. And with those two little girls, she had a chance to be a parent, to be a role model, and really watch people grow and take care of them on her own. So it was like a completely different kind of loss going into it that time.
So yeah, for me, that it really turned me off to the season. That was one thing that happened in this that I'm having trouble getting over it. It makes that season kind of ruined for me, even though they had some neat stuff. And there was one other thing they did that season that also kind of pissed me off. And it happened at the very end.
Okay.
When they're now, I haven't seen the new season, so I don't know what happens afterwards. But they're going to go face off against the leader of the bad guys or
who is beautiful. He is beautiful. Let it be what it is.
Let me get to what happens before that.
Mm-hmm.
When they're going in this RV or whatever it was, and they're going from point to point, to me, they've made this villain so intelligent, so freaking amazingly smart, that any way they manage to outsmart him later on is not going to be believable. And I'm sitting here watching this like, okay, well, he's figured out they're doing this. Oh, he figured out they're doing this. Oh, he figured out they're doing this. It's like he's always one step ahead of them. Well, and if they ever manage to actually outsmart this guy, I'm not going to buy it, because they've made the villain so freaking smart that it's going to be very tough. It's going to be a tough sell for me if later on down the line they go, oh, yeah, we fooled him. Yeah, right. Give me a break.
I can understand that because he comes off as really intelligent, really charismatic, and you get all that from the finale. Like you meet him, and I had a hard time hating him. Like I knew he was going to be a bad guy, because that's kind of obvious when you see him. But I mean, he's obvious.
He comes out there with that mustache and he's sporting that bat. Yeah, he's a villain.
I mean, he's a villain, but you love him. You're like, damn.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be a guy that I'm going to love watching, because they haven't had a lot of great villains lately. So.
No, and The Walking Dead hasn't really had. I don't think we've even really had a villain since the governor.
Of Woodbury, or the good governor of Woodbury.
The governor wasn't bad. He was a bad guy, but we haven't had a bad guy since then. There hasn't really been. They've had like groups they've run into, like Terminus and the cannibals and things like that, but never really an entity. Because this guy is like he's a force to be reckoned with. Like how is one person controlling that many people? Because at the end of the season, you see them walk into that clearing, and you're like, what the hell is this? It is so many people all rallying under this man that it's hard to see a way out. And one thing that I couldn't stand about that was seeing you see Rick Grimes on his knees, and that's hard to see, because the last time he was ever broken was when Lori died, and he has never been that low again. And now he's on the ground, and there's nothing for him to do. So he does seem like something that they can't beat. And it's going to be interesting to see how they can, because the tables have to turn. There's no way they're not going to. I mean, they either have to beat him or be beaten by him.
But that's what I'm saying, is that they painted themselves into a corner here. So I'm interested in how they're going to write it out. But in my opinion, like if you're going to write a villain that incredibly smart and turn him into this Moriarty type character, then you need to come up with something that I'm actually going to believe is possible. Because this is a guy who knows how to predict people's moves. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a long time.
And he's very comfortable. There's not a piece of him that seems like he doesn't know how this is going to play out. Like he knows.
He outsmarted every member of Rick Grimes' team. That's important to point out. Not just Rick Grimes, but every person. Like Mullet Man in the fucking RV outsmarted him. Outsmarted
Mullet Man.
Outsmarted Redhead Army Man.
Abraham. They have names, Razzle.
I have my own names for them. I will say that there was one thing that happened this season that surprised me, shocked me a little bit in a good way.
Okay.
And that was when little boy, what's his name?
Carl?
Carl. When he got shot.
Oh, and that was bad.
Like that
whole scene was that whole episode was like, holy shit.
Like it was that whole moment where like it reminded me of the video game, in that scene where they're all kind of with hands and they're kind of going out into the zombies, and then suddenly things start going to shit.
It was like, oh god, oh god.
It was like, oh my god, this kid won't shut up. Oh my god, this kid is dead. Oh my god, now
I wanted that kid to die though so badly. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But I've been like that for a while with him, because I'm like, listen, your mother's being stupid. You need to die. Just end his life. Somebody end him. And then he gets out there and he's like, Mom, and I'm like, oh dear god.
And it was back to back, and then suddenly, bam, fires a gun, and then you see Carl. And the thing was, I didn't really know where they were going with this. I don't read the comics or anything, so I see Carl say something like "Dad," and he
then
looks
you
over at
see
him.
it. Oh dear God.
I was
Yeah.
sitting here like, did they just kill Carl? Like that was
Right?
my first
That's
thought.
what you would assume.
Yeah, that's my first thought is they killed Carl, and he just falls over, and Rick Grimes is losing his shit, and I was sitting there surprised out of my mind because I was not expecting this. Like this is not how I expected this episode to end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I've got to see the next one. I got to see what happens next.
Right, you
But-
can't walk away after that. You're like, I need to know. Somebody help me. Now, it sucked for me because I had to wait a week.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was kind of, in my opinion, the high point of this season in terms of making me shocked in a show that hasn't shocked me very much this past season. Now the whole Glenn thing, I actually know his name. The whole Glenn thing.
You have to know Glenn's name. He's an original.
Well, the whole thing with Glenn is I already knew he was going to survive because I had that spoiled way back when. Like somebody had mentioned something about a dumpster and Glenn, and Glenn's actually okay.
That would be really upsetting because I didn't know, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, what's going on? And I like rewatched it over and over, and I'm like, no, something fell on top of him, but it looked like it was him. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I was really freaked out. It's upsetting that got ruined for you.
And it got ruined on Facebook, of course.
So bullshit.
Fucking
no, because that's
media.
something that, like, if it wasn't ruined for you, it's like it's really great if it's not ruined for you.
It probably would have been, but since it was ruined, I can't really count it as something that was shocking for me because it wasn't.
It would have been if it wasn't.
And then they had the storyline with Army Man and and what's the girl's name he was with?
Sasha, the black girl?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they had a storyline together, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I kind of dig them together.
I like seeing them recover together.
Yeah.
They're both becoming human together.
And so I liked that. That was a neat little storyline they kind of threw in there. I like his character a lot more than I did when he first came on.
See, I always loved him. Because
didn't.
he's so dramatic. He's a loudmouth. He's an asshole. Like, I like him.
I just feel like I've gotten time to know him now, and so I kind of understand him a little bit better.
He's rough around the edges, Razzle. He takes some getting used to.
The same with the Mullet Man. I didn't like him much at first either, but now I kind of like him.
He creeped me out for a long time. Especially when he was, like, watching Abraham and Rosita have sex. Like, he's just, like, watching from between the bookcases in one of the seasons, and I'm like, oh, you're weird. I don't like you. And, like, he was lying about the whole Washington thing. Like,
I'm sorry. I was just thinking out loud because I'm trying to get all this in here, but the doctor.
Which one? What doctor?
The lady doctor. The
Denise?
Blonde hair. I don't know.
She was, like, really nervous about doing anything at first.
I think so.
Her and Tara are a couple.
Yeah, and well, anyway, that scene, like on the train tracks, like I saw that one coming a mile away. Like the thing about this show is you can usually tell when someone's about to be killed, and it's usually in a moment exactly like that moment right there, where they have like this break and a lot of close-up shots, and then suddenly boom.
Yeah.
And
it was still like that was creepy when she's just standing there with it in her eye. Ooh. I was like, what? And she's like talking, and I'm like, stop, just go down, just drop. You're scaring me.
And I also didn't like that other villain they put in there, the blonde guy who met with Norman Reedus.
Oh, the burned guy?
Yeah. Like, I felt like they made him a little too smart,
He...
I just felt like they made him too smart.
He's in the comics. He's in the comics, and what I know from the comics is that he's one of Negan's people. He's a savior, which isn't too hard to believe. I kind of figured that out. So I don't know. He didn't strike me as smart. He just struck me as like a vicious, vengeful man.
I mean, to me, he just seemed like he was just in the middle of nowhere for no reason, and then suddenly, okay, hi, I'm here for plot reasons, and that's how I interpreted him. But you know what? Whatever. I have a huge problem with the villains right now in terms of how they've been writing them. But I guess because it's based on a comic book, I should just accept that.
But I think Negan has been written very well.
Well,
and I think they picked,
I don't know much about Negan right now.
I think they picked a perfect person to play him. Because he's supposed to be charismatic. You're supposed to like him. But he's also supposed to seem undefeatable. But that does lead to wonder, how is it going to be believable to take him down?
And that's the thing that you always have to balance with stuff like this, because if you make him too powerful, no one's going to buy the payoff. Right. But if you don't make him powerful enough, no one's going to buy that he's a threat. So it's
because right now they've had him. He's brought everyone to their knees, literally. Like all these powerful characters that you're in love with are on their knees, freaking out. And Rick Grimes doesn't know what to do, so that freaks out everybody, because he always knows what to do. I mean, even when I loved when Carl lost his eye and he brought him to the doctor. Rick's just like, I gotta go outside. And he just goes on a rampage, and you see the whole town come together.
Yeah,
to like,
that was a cool moment.
That was really great to see everybody come together and like kind of help him process what the hell's going on. And they just like wipe out all these zombies, and Rick's just going ham. I really loved that.
And Carl doesn't even complain about losing a fucking eye. I mean, he's just like, oh, okay, moving on.
Well, you know, he's just like, this is the life I live now.
Yeah, he's kind of grown up.
He's really grown. Like he went through, like when he went through that weird phase where he like killed the kid when he didn't have to, and all that stuff back at the prison, and he was just being defiant. And then when like his dad was after they got out of the prison and his dad was sick, I think his dad was shot, and he was like, I don't need you. So he like leaves and like goes and kills zombies on his own just to prove that he can. Like he goes through like that teenage defiant thing. I didn't like him for like a season and a half, and now I like who he's become. Like he's a man now.
I didn't like the character early on, but I think I like who he is now because, in my opinion, he's a lot smarter than his father. And like if they keep this up, like he'll eventually outgrow his father. Because
that's what I think too.
Like his father is held back. His father is kind of always in between two worlds, whereas Carl is invested completely in this world. This is the world he knows. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to make him more of a survivalist than even his father. And it's going to make him a lot smarter. Like you see it now with his peers, like the other people his age group, like he is so fucking far ahead of every last one of them.
Well, it's like he can't connect with them.
Right.
Because he's like, what is wrong with you people? Like,
and
yeah.
He's so mature too. Like that kid who was giving him a hard time, who eventually shot him in the fucking face.
That asshole.
Like he completely was mature with him. Like he didn't.
I know when they had that weird slap fight.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to feel about the slap fight that they had. I was like, guys, calm down.
He was defending himself.
Yeah.
So.
Still a slap fight.
But he didn't when it came down to it, he was like, nah, we're cool.
Yeah.
Like because for him, I mean. Like I said, he's mature. He's really a man now. So it's just kind of like watching him. Like early on, I hated him because he was just a fucking kid. Like he was just some annoying little kid. But now that he's kind of grown up some and he is who he is, like I see him as becoming a potentially great leader in this new world. So
I do too. I do too. Unless Rick goes through a dramatic change, which I don't think he will because it's not who Rick is. And I like that Rick sticks to who he is. Like, yeah, he goes crazy. That's Rick. He needs to deal with things in his way. But I like who Rick is, even with his flaws, because he's not a perfect leader. He makes a lot of mistakes, which keeps him real.
Maybe it'll be Carl who takes down Negan. Maybe Carl will be the one who Negan doesn't. Well, I don't know. Look, granted, I haven't seen anything of the new season. For all I know, Carl's the one who gets beaten to fucking death. So
I love how they did that, though.
Oh, I loved the ending, yeah.
They did a great job because I remember watching it and the amount of tension I felt sick.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's doing this eeny, meeny, miny, moe, and they're just showing faces. And everybody looks like it's the end of the world. Except I did notice that Abraham's the only one who's just, like, staring him down the entire time, which is so Abraham to just do that and just be like, I'm looking right at you as you eeny, meeny through us. But, like, everybody else is freaking out. I don't think Carl is crying either in that. He's just kind of, like, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Rick is freaking out. Because what is he going to do? He can't do anything. He's just, like, he's waiting for this game to end. Because it is all a game. It feels very much like a game to Negan. Like, well, this is what I have to do. I have to teach y'all a lesson, so I'm gonna beat the shit out of somebody. And I love and hate how it ended. It's just you're in that person's point of view, and you just they go down, and that's it. And it's a really good and horrible way to end a season. It's one thing I wanted to ask, because I think, are we getting close to done here?
Yeah, we're right at the time, actually.
One thing I wanted to ask you to, two things I wanted to bring up, other things about the show before we finish up here, is when they do that whole scene with that crazy redhead woman who captures Carol and Maggie, right?
Yeah.
Did you love the back and forth between them? It's because it was like they were having this like battle of the wits back and forth.
Well, what I remember about that scene is that Carol had full control of what was going to happen.
But that woman didn't think so. That woman truly believed she had the control, and it's like they were fighting without fighting with each other.
Oh, that was the thing. Like, she made that woman think she was in control. Like, Carol is good at that. Carol will make you think, like, that you're 2 steps ahead of her, when in fact she's 3 steps ahead of you. And that's just one of the things that I absolutely love about her character. And so that whole scene, I'm sitting there like, what I was really thinking to myself about that redheaded lady was, girl, you have no idea what's coming.
It's like like she has no idea who she chose to mess with.
Right. I mean,
but she thought she did, though. She was like, oh, I can deal with you, bunch of babies.
Like, unlike every other character on there, Carol's the one who will engage you in psychological warfare on a level that you can't. Like, Rick Grimes isn't going to do that shit. What's
he doesn't have time. He doesn't have the patience for it. He's just like, I'm going to kill you.
I'm sorry, but if you saw Rick Grimes and he picked up a cross and said, oh, I'm religious now, are you really going to buy that shit? No,
he's not good at that.
No.
He can't do it. And he wears himself on his sleeve. He can't hide his intentions or his thoughts. He's not good at that at all. Never has been. But Carol, I think she's lived her whole life that way, that she now knows how to use it to her advantage. Yeah. And she's really good at it. Like when they moved into Alexandria and she's all of a sudden Susie Homemaker, baking cookies and everything all the time. Just like, oh, Carol, you're perfect. You're everything we need in this show. But I loved that whole scene of that back and forth between them. I was waiting to see how she was going to do it. I'm like, how are you going to get out of this, Carol? How are we doing this today? One other thing I wanted to ask you is, how do you feel about Michonne and Rick?
Oh, my God. I can't believe you brought that up.
I needed to, because it is the most awkward thing for me, and I'm uncomfortable bringing it up.
Okay, this was probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen this show do.
Yeah,
and it's simply because there is no build for it. It just happens, and you're sitting there watching it like, what the fuck did I miss? Mm-hmm. Because it literally just comes out of nowhere. There's no build for it. They never go through a flirtations phase. It's just, oh yeah, we're together, and suddenly we're lovey-dovey. Now, it would have been one thing if they just had like a one-night stand and had sex. I'm like, okay, they're both humans. They were under a lot of stress. They had sex. Who gives a shit? But no, they go full on lovey-dovey couple in the matter of 20 seconds. And it's suddenly like, if you blink, you're going to miss it. Because there's a whole lot of character development that completely went out the window. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, because Michonne and Rick strike me as more buddy-buddy than any love interest.
Yeah, like they're just good partners. And yeah, they've grown close. They've been through a lot together. They know each other. And that's great. And I could have accepted it if it was just a, wow, like we're relaxed, things are good, and it happens. Whatever, that's fine. I could deal with that. I understand that. But then it's like, we're a couple, we're looking at each other different after. It's just, it just didn't vibe well with me. And some people were really for it. Some people were like, yeah, I've been waiting forever for this. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I would understand it more if Carol and Daryl became a thing. That would make more sense to me.
Well, yeah, because they were actually building to that.
Like, they've been building a solid relationship. They understand each other on a level that I don't think anybody else understands them. These two, I just don't see it. And everyone's like, I've been waiting. And I'm like, I don't understand what you were waiting for. I didn't see this.
I don't know why they're doing it, if it's a comic book storyline that just was
It's not, though. Not that I know of. I could be wrong, but I didn't see it.
Maybe it's a fan service thing. But I'm going to tell you right now that when I watched that, I'm like, you know what? I would have been fine with it if they had spent any time at all building toward it. Like,
Yeah.
if they had started off slow.
Yeah, if
Like,
we had,
start off
because
slow.
they're the kind of relationship that would need to develop over seasons, just like Carol and Daryl are, and that's fine.
Every romance
just
angle
boom.
on that show builds. Like, it builds slowly and surely, and it's natural. And this one just, like I said, I would have been fine. I mean, if this was just them getting together for a fling, okay. But why are they lovey-dovey couple like we've been together for 5 months? And I'm sitting here like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
You can't just throw that out there and expect me to buy it and be like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. No, everything, that whole storyline is just garbage. They need to just scrap it and start it over again if they want to go that route, because they've completely fucked it. I don't know. And it's weird you brought that up, because I blocked that out of my head.
Like, I know. I had to think about it, though. Like, I was
was
just scrolling
weird.
through the episodes, and I thought about it, so I had to ask you.
Like, even Army Man and Sasha, they're building to something there. Now,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't know
that's been happening.
Right. And, like, that's a build. Like, if something happens from it, cool. If something doesn't, fine. But what I'm saying is, if those two were to eventually hook up, I could buy it because they're building to it. That's how normal human beings form relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just go from 0 to 100 like Michonne and
Yeah,
Rick did.
because they did. It was 0 to 100.
And
It
not
was
only
crazy.
that, but didn't his girlfriend just die like 20 seconds before
Well, I
that?
don't know that was a girlfriend. Like, it was like, yeah, there was something there. It was probably comfortable, but she did just get eaten in the street, attached to him.
She may not have been his girlfriend, but they built to that more than they did Michonne and Rick.
Yeah, they did.
So
it made more sense for him to be upset about that and to be involved in that than him with her.
And this isn't even just a rebound thing, because if it was just a rebound thing, they wouldn't be like this lovey-dovey. They
would be like, all right, we did that happened, it's over.
Look, I like both characters. And if
I
they
don't
wanted to
care
do
about
this,
Michonne at all.
I like Michonne.
I used to care, but she's just, I don't know.
I think it's because of that video game you played. I think that's just got.
You think that ruined me?
I think that left such a sour taste in your mouth.
I just hate her. Now I'm just like.
But no, I like the characters. It's just that building. I just wish they built to it, and then I'd be fine. I just get so angry. To me, the writers really screwed up a lot of things this season. Hopefully, they can fix it.
I would agree. I think they did some things really well. Like, there were some scenes that were obviously played out really great. I loved that build up to Negan. I loved the stuff with Carl. I loved the two women in the psychological warfare. I liked a lot of things that happened. I even liked the small things like Abraham and Sasha's relationship, Maggie's pregnancy. I thought that was interesting to happen, and I kind of thought it would happen sooner, just because of how her and Glenn are. They're always sleeping with each other. But I'm excited for that. Like, I'm really excited for that, because I'm like, they deserve it. They're great, and they've been with each other for so long. They need this. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the new season. I actually want to find a way to have Razzle watching the new season as it's out. I'm going to try to figure this out, because I would really like to talk about it, Razzle.
Okay.
So I want to try to find a way for you to be able to watch it. I'm going to figure this out, because I think it's relevant. I think people want to hear about it, and I think it'll be good. I'm gonna figure this out, folks, because Razzle needs to be up with the times, because things are happening, and I can't keep this shit to myself. But that's it. We're gonna stop there. I'm hoping we started using a new program this week, and I'm hoping things are good now. We're praying that things are good now and we have no more issues. I think it was the program we were using before, so hopefully things start going better for us now. You can email us at theprattlecast@gmail.com. Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/theprattlecast. All the episodes are uploaded to YouTube if you don't use iTunes for whatever reason, or any other podcast service. You can follow us on Twitter at The Prattlecast. Our personal Twitters are at ShakeZillaTV and at Razzle_Dazzles. We stream together every Friday or Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week we will be streaming on Friday. It'll be, like, special and stuff. I don't want to talk about it right now, but you just go. You'll see it. It'll be nice for us. We'll be playing more Gears of War 4. Don't know how much we're going to get done because we're going to be drinking. It's okay. We can be good at the game and drink. It'll be fun. it'll be a good time. So you should join us there. Twitch.tv/the names I mentioned earlier. Shakezilla TV, Razzle_Dazzles. That's it. Am I missing anything, Razzle? Are we good?
I think we're good.
I did it. I did a good job. Be nice to each other. We'll see you next week.